Good morning, guys. I am up super early. It is exactly 7:16 a.m. my time, Central Standard Time on a Tuesday, October 13th. And I wanted to come on and I wanted to talk. As you guys can hear, I sound like I am just super wide awake. I woke up this morning just kind of thinking about the responsibility that leaders have to carry around. As you guys know, this podcast is about the healthy leader, about being a healthy leader. It's also about my book that you guys can find on Amazon called The Healthy Leader. The book is actually a great read. You know, I actually had some great feedback coming back, even from the editors of the book who actually just loved the book and suggested that I put a workbook with the book. And so it's a great book. And so I want you guys to go and check out the book. If you guys know me, you guys can reach out to me through Facebook on author Michelle Franklin, and you guys can connect with me and I can get you a signed copy of the book if you do not want to go through Amazon. However, on this morning, I kind of wanted to talk about a role model. The reason why I wanted to talk about a role model is because a role model is a leader who has to be an example of what it means to become something. And so, if a person is a doctor and you have a younger generation, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a younger generation as it pertains to age, but it could just be someone who's looking to become a doctor, maybe have their own practice. A lot of times they look for doctors who have their own practice and they want them to become their role models because they want them to show them the ropes. They want them to teach them how they got to where they got to. They want them to teach them how to be a successful doctor. And the same goes on for every other thing that we do within our lives, you know, whether it's ministry leaders, whether it's the music industry. If you sing and you want to do music, chances are you're going to find a mentor who's already doing music, who's already successful at it, who knows the ropes, who knows the checks and balances, as they will say. That's what you're going to do. That's what a role model is. A role model is kind of like a mentor, but that role model or that mentor is leading and guiding people based upon the example that is reflective of their life and their way of living, their lifestyle, what they have accomplished. And so that is heavy. I want you guys to really just hear that. The responsibility, the weight of the responsibility of being a role model is heavy. And sometimes I don't think that we as a people really realize that. You know what I'm saying? I think about the president, Donald Trump. Everybody is just freaking out and having issue with Donald Trump. But that was a huge responsibility, and that is a huge responsibility to be the president of the United States. And I don't think the people who run for office really think about how huge of a responsibility that is and how you are responsible for being an actual role model to people and how that can carry a tremendous amount of weight on your life. And if you as a leader, if you do not carry the capacity to carry the responsibility, then as a leader, you will find yourself breaking. And so even being a role model, you have to have the capacity to carry the responsibility that comes along with being a role model. And when I tell you it is hard, it is hard. I really don't like to use the word hard unless it's necessary, because hard means a resistance that's brought on by two people or more than one people that's supposedly be in partnership. That's what hard means. And so I really don't like to use the word hard, but I can exactly use the word hard in this situation because sometimes leadership is hard. Why is it hard? Because the people that you're trying to lead is bringing on a resistance. Sometimes the people that want you to be their role model, sometimes the people that want you to be their mentor, sometimes people will resist the change that you bring. And I want you guys to write that down. It's not that they are resisting you. Okay? With everything that we do, whether we are married, whether we are single, whether we have children, whether we are in ministry, whether we are in the marketplace, when people resist something about you, it's not like they're resisting you as a person. They are resisting the change that you bring. So if you have a standard, that is what's being resisted. You know what I'm saying? If you have whatever your values are, people are going to resist your values. Whatever they are not in agreement with that you uphold, they will resist. And I'm not talking about everyone. I'm talking about some people, especially people that you may not be designed to actually walk this walk with. And so as a leader, you have to remember that sometimes this walk, being a role model, being a leader is hard business because you have to deal with the resistance that comes from people. And not only do you have to deal with the resistance that's actually coming from people who are spectators and people who want to see you fall, but you have to deal with the resistance that comes along with people that are really assigned to walk with you. It's like, why are you resisting this? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm really trying to understand this thing and you're not helping me out, but why are you resisting this? You say you want it. So if you want it, why is there so much resistance when it comes to something that you say you want? Why is there so much resistance? And sometimes you will find that even in the resistance, there is protection. Even in the resistance, there is protection. Sometimes resistance can be seen as a form of rejection. And in that rejection is a form of protection, protecting us from what we don't see, protecting us from what we don't know, protecting us from what can harm us. And so we cannot be afraid to embrace the resistance that's being brought on. But being a role model, it's tough business, guys. It is hard business. It is hard. It is so hard sometimes. It is a weight that is on you. It is a weight on you because it's also unrealistic expectations. So many people put these unrealistic expectations upon who you're supposed to be in their life because they want to replace you with their dysfunctional old life. And to be honest, that isn't fair. Sometimes it isn't fair that you come from a dysfunctional background and you're looking for me to replace that dysfunctional background. And as soon as I make a mistake, you're there to crucify me because of the mistake that I've made, because of the standard that you held me to, which wasn't even my standard, And so sometimes, and that's one thing I put on Facebook, how we look for replacements. So that's what a role model also can be seen as, a replacement. When guys don't have their fathers in their life, when girls don't have their fathers in their life, what happens? They typically look for replacements. They look for people to replace what they did not have in their life. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is, you still want to make sure that you display a level of honor upon them and appreciation upon them. Because just like you as a person chose to follow them, chose to follow their leadership, you have to remember that these leaders, listen, they chose to step in and be the replacement. So if I'm going to step in free of charge and be the replacement that you need in your life, then my goodness, at least you can do is demonstrate your honor and appreciation by honoring me, even in the midst of my mistake, even in the midst of me maybe doing something or saying something that may turns out to be out of order at that moment. Family don't turn on each other at that moment. And so, sometimes people who look for the replacement, which is a role models are replacements. Sometimes the people that look for those role models will exhibit the same behavior of their offender. What do I mean by their offender? Sometimes we hear the word offender, we always think of a crime, or we think of sexual assault or anything like that. But sometimes they would exhibit the same behavior that the person who offended them or the person who abandoned them has done. So if abandonment is what has always happened to you, then sometimes you have to step back and realize that, hey, you may be dealing with some abandonment issues, which may cause you to exhibit the same behaviors of abandonment, which means that when you find your role model, you will make that role model a replacement for what you didn't have. And the person who abandoned you, you will end up abandoning your role model when you cannot have your way. And so there's a lot that even the followers, those who want to follow and those who want to have a role model, there's just a lot of things that you yourself have to be ready for, that you yourself has to know, because you do not want to become a victim of hurting anybody. You don't want to become a victim of being hurt, and you don't want to become a victim of hurting anybody, although being hurt is just a part of the process. If you think about your life and you're growing up as a child, there was some times you got a whooping that. There was some times that there may have been some threats you got from your parents. Get in that room, close that door, don't do nothing before I go upside your head. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes you're going to get hurt throughout this process, but just because you've gotten hurt doesn't mean that the way that the discipline came was an effort to offend or was in an effort to destroy, and so I just really wanted to come on here this morning to really kind of talk about role model. I didn't do the podcast on yesterday. Beat me down, y'all. Beat me down. Listen, I did not do it on yesterday. I had a lot going on. I had a moment yesterday. As a leader, I had a moment yesterday because I thought about the standard. Not just the standard that I've given myself, not just the standard that God himself places on me, but also the standard that those who follow me place on me, those who look up to me place on me. There's a weight of that, and it's so heavy. And sometimes people don't ever call and say, what can I do to alleviate the stress or the weight off of you? You've been carrying this weight for so long. You know what? Let me give you a break and let me let you carry this weight. Let me carry this weight for you today. Sometimes you look for that, but it's just not going to be there. It's just not going to be there, guys. It's just not going to be there. And so I was just having a little moment yesterday. Don't get me wrong now. It was an awesome day yesterday. It was raining. I was in my feelings. I was in my emotions yesterday. And so I didn't get a chance to do my podcast, but there's no excuse. And so I'm going to try to continue to do these podcasts as many times as I can. I'm definitely going to do a Facebook Live once a week to try to talk about my book. And so I'm super excited about that. I want to be consistent in doing that. I want to choose a day, and I may just choose Fridays. I'm not sure, either Fridays or Wednesdays. I may do not the podcast. The podcast is something that I think I want to do every day. But being a role model, that's something that you have to remember. There's a lot of people that want to be writers. I'm an author of 10 published books and counting. I'm still in the process of writing. I'm a part of another collaboration. I also have a few more books that I will be birthing out. And so, I'm excited just about all of that. And so sometimes people look for role models, or they look for people to come influence them and encourage them in the area of writing. And so I have to be the role model. Have you ever heard of this? Be the change in the world that you desire to see. Listen, I think Gandhi was the one that said that. Be the change in the world that you desire to see. But let me say this again, that comes with a tremendous amount of weight because it comes with unrealistic expectations. People put unrealistic expectations on those who choose to lead them, and leaders sometimes put unrealistic expectations upon those who choose to follow them. And so as a leader, you are a role model. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't have to continue to carry on about leaders being role models, because that's exactly what you are. You have to be the change you desire to see in this nation. You have to be an example. And sometimes keeping your guard up, as some people would try to do, watching where you go, what you do, how you say it, not engaging in certain type of behavior